All right. Well, I was hoping to come to you live, but I guess I need 50 subscribers on YouTube before I can do that. Which is interesting because the last time I was on YouTube, it said I could do it in 24 hours. So they must have been having some kind of a special or whatever. But anybody who knows me knows I'm not great with time, and I'm definitely not great with, I don't know, like, you have to do this within the next XYZ. Like, that's not for me. But I digress. Hello, everyone. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decks of cards again today. We're going to do the same thing we did last time. Hopefully, the audio is better. Hopefully, the visual is better. And I will get better and better at this, but I'm going to post no matter what it looks like because the message is still important. So, we're going to do a card of the day. Today is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. So, interesting fact, 8 years ago today, my bestest girl in the world went to heaven in my arms, and her name is Lily. I'll show you a little artist depiction of her real quickly, and then we'll get moving. So maybe today is dedicated to Lily. So this is her. All right, let's get going, guys and gals and fairies and witches and, you know, everybody. Everybody's welcome here. So, of course, we'll go through the decks again. My top deck is like, give it to me straight, don't sugarcoat it. My last unicorn deck is pretty much for me like a deck that has to do with matters of the heart. This is the deck that connects you with your star lineages and your cosmic selves. This is like, I can tell you that the most awful news is going to happen to you, but it's going to come to you with this beautiful, shiny, like, resilience that it's not going to feel so hard. And then this is our color cards, and then this is just what is the mantra for today. This is an Abraham Hicks deck. This is an Inna Segal color deck. Anywhoozer, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and start with the love deck first. Now, as I get better at this, I promise that, you know, I don't promise anything about my shuffling, by the way, because we can just call myself the silly shuffler because I am not great at shuffling. But I love using my intuition, and the cards is one way that helps me to do that. I'm going to move these guys out of the way. And so just bear with me as I shuffle, and hopefully everyone's having a wonderful Tuesday. Last week was super heavy for me. How was it for you guys? And then yesterday felt like a whole week in and of itself. Lots of karmic conclusions, lots of loops ending. For me, did anybody else have the same experience? Because I have a feeling that a lot of us have been reclaiming parts of ourselves that we've left somewhere with someone or someplace, and we've gotten them back. We've realized that, you know, we don't have to be high all the time, and I don't necessarily mean that in terms of like using substances, but I mean like a day that feels good is a good day. A day that I decide to have a good day is a good day. You know what I mean? So it's like, just because everything doesn't go your way doesn't mean it's not a good day. You ever have those days where you're flying high, and then all of a sudden you hit a red light, all these people coming in front of you, everything you try to do, there's like roadblocks, and instead of persisting through it, you just kind of say, I surrender to the flow of life. So that's how it's been for me the last couple weeks. And I'm spending lots more time in the sun, and that's amazing. So I'm just going to cut this deck one time. Again, this is the Last Unicorn Tarot deck, and if you've been following me on Instagram for a while, you'll know the whole saga behind this. But I'm wanting to really get more established here on YouTube, something I've always wanted to do. So I don't want to reveal the card just yet, so we're going to leave the card right here. We'll come back to it. The next deck that we're going to pull is going to be illuminating our cosmic connection. I do believe at this point in time that everybody on Earth, for the most part, is a starseed. Anybody who's watching this. I don't think that... Okay, I'll say that I think labels are useful until that they are not, and things that make labels not useful, from my perspective, would be using them as a crutch or using them to divide. I'm not down with that kind of stuff, so. Cut this deck once. She wants to cut there. Pull our card. And our next one, again, the Shamanic Healing Oracle cards. Now, I read everything intuitively. I don't read the guidebook. I don't go by the traditional meaning of the cards. That doesn't mean that you know, may not find that meaning helpful. This is just the way that I was taught to do the cards. This is the way I enjoy doing the cards. Again, it's a way for me to really just hone in on my intuition, and I love doing it. So, go ahead and take this lady. This lady said she doesn't want to be cut, so I'm not going to cut her. And then we'll do our color cards. The Secret Language of Color by Anna Segal. She has an amazing book, kind of in the same line as the Louise Hay book, Heal Your Life. Anna Segal's book talks about, it's called The Secret Language of Your Body. It talks all about physical ailments and what they mean from an emotional perspective. And that's one of the, oh my, that's our card. That's one of the things that I came here to do in this lifetime, is to help people really. This next deck is the Thoth deck, the one that peels the band-aid off without sugarcoating anything. In this lifetime, one of my main roles is to help people be comfortable feeling their emotions, because as a human, you have this distinct pleasure to feel emotions. When you get to the higher realms, you do not have emotions, you do not have physical form. So even though they can be painful, you don't take ownership of them necessarily. You let them flow through you. The way I like to talk about emotions is how I talk about, like, if you had a little kid that wanted your attention, you know what I mean? They literally just want your attention. They want you to honor them and allow them to flow through you, to move through you. Energy wants to move. It does not want to be stagnant. Okay? So I'm here to help people with their emotions. We have our Thoth deck. Cut it. Move it over here because we know it's going to do that anyways. And then this deck right here is one that I got when I went to actually go see Abraham Hicks last year. It's the Ask and It Is Given deck. So that is just going to be like our mantra for the day. So actually with this one, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Tomorrow is December 11th. 12/11, and then we'll have 12/12. So many cool things happening for all of us. I'm really excited about it. Really excited about the way the world's going, despite what might be clearly pushed in our faces. There are so many beautiful things that are happening for those of us who really just align with our heart and stay true to ourselves. So there's our mantra. And our mantra says, absolute well-being is the basis of my universe. All right, so now let's see what our love card is going to say. It's Schmendrick. I love him. The Page of Wands. Okay, we'll come back because we're just going to unfold them all. Then we have karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. Okay. Then our Thoth card. Ooh, lust. This is interesting. This is interesting. And then emotional release. And then color. Upside down. Okay, so what I am feeling. I feel like this reading right here is a past reading. So I feel like if you're watching this, no matter if it's today or whenever it is, it's the perfect time. Absolute well-being is the basis of my universe. Let's turn this card over and read it. Well-being is the basis of all that is. It flows to you and through you. You only have to allow it. Like the air you breathe, you only have to open, relax, and draw it into your being. So I feel like this has been something that you have been, I want to say, almost forced to do. You had to feel through something. How funny, we were just talking about emotions. You have to feel through something, okay? I feel like you have just come out of a period. It's almost like you were holding your breath. You were down at the bottom of the ocean. You were swimming up to the top. Maybe it was like one of those dreams where at first you can't find the top of the water, and then as soon as you find the top of the water, you remember that you can't breathe underwater, but you're swimming as fast as you can to the top of the water, and the bubbles are coming up beside you and on top of you, and you're almost to the top, you're almost to the top, you're almost to the top. You've just now broken through the top of that water, and taken this big gasp of air. You have just come up for air. I feel like there either has been recently, very recently, or will be a huge emotional release. Because what is happening is you have just gone through an ego death. You have just gone through a dark night of the soul. You have just kind of reacquainted yourself with another part of yourself that you left somewhere, that you went back and you collected for yourself. So again, we have this emotional release. We have lust. So I think that these guys go together. And I think what this is conveying for me in this space, in this time, for you who's watching, you have just ended a huge karmic relationship. Now, by ending it, I don't necessarily mean that the end just happened. I mean that you just finally got resolution. You just finally had the clarity that you needed. You just finally got the closure that you needed. And it was through this emotional release, through this ego death and dark night of the soul, and doing something that was very painful for you, you came out of this karmic relationship. Your soul has grown. Now you're breathing this air at the top of the water. I feel that this karmic relationship was one that was driven by lust. And so we have 11. So that could be 11, or that could mean 2. If any of those numbers mean anything for you, it could be as simple as the karmic relationship and the polarity. So when we come into this world of the third dimension, every problem inherently comes with a solution, because this is a dualistic reality, okay? And once we can transcend that dualistic reality, we realize that everything is whole, everything is perfect just the way it is. That being said, when we're still learning things, which we're always learning, but what I found with most of the people that I come across is they tend to kind of tie up their karma earlier on in life, and then they come to a new realization of self-awareness and how they want to be going forward. So what I'm getting at is, I feel like this is Schmendrick, the magician, I love him. He is showing you that you have always had all of the tools that you need within yourself. And yes, you can use things outside of yourself as tools, as guides, as knowledge, but your emotions. I feel very strongly that this card is saying right now, you used to be a victim of your emotions, and now your emotions are your superpower. Wow, this is awesome. I really love this reading. It's almost like he looks dumbfounded. But what I'm getting from this card is, you have been trying so hard to get something, to get a feeling to come up, to get back to yourself. So when I talk about myself, I talk about my true self as my coil. And I like using this because of the coil. So, and I feel like we all inherently know who we are when we first come here, and especially when we're children, but because of conditioning, because of soul growth, because of karma, and what have you, we all kind of stray away from who we are. And so then it's almost like we're on this path, and we have this basket, and we're picking up pieces of ourself that we lost along the way. So in this karmic relationship, you gave up something of yourself, and you had to come back and kind of revisit it recently, within the last 1 or 2 weeks is what I would say. You had this dark night of the soul, or this ego death. Maybe it was even experienced as some type of like numbness or something like this. And then you had this huge emotional release and realization that you have always been whole. You just had to go back and remember who you were. You had to go back and collect all these pieces and parts that you had left somewhere else. And at this particular moment in time, this reading is saying you left it with this karmic relationship that was based on lust. So you had a karmic relationship that was based on lust. It ended. And I don't feel as though it just ended. I feel like it ended a while ago. And I'm talking like years ago. And you just finally realized that you had left some pieces and parts of yourself with this particular karmic relationship. Now, it doesn't have to be a person, okay? It can be a pattern. It can be a lifestyle. It could be as simple as something that you were eating. I don't think that is what this was, but it could be like you knew pizza was bad for you, quote unquote, because you were told that you have lactose intolerance or it always hurts your stomach, but pizza, you have this lust for pizza. Again, I don't think it's necessarily that, but just trying to make it as simple as possible. It does not have to be a person, but the lust, the driving, like, look at that. This reminds me of just like a very like instinctive, like a primal force, something that you allowed to take over you. And that could be hunger, that could be sexual desire, that could be the feeling of being needed or belonging in like a social infrastructure, a group of friends, a university, a job. So it doesn't have to be a person, but whatever this karmic relationship is, it has been over on the physical level for a while, but in the other subtle levels, you had left some pieces of yourself there. And by going through this ego death, this dark night of the soul, and by having this emotional release, you were able to come up for air. You used your emotions to your advantage. Your emotions were your magic. And by you feeling all of those feelings and purifying yourself, you now have this realization, wow, I am whole again.